Cross Community Inc. is uniquely connected and dedicated to the community it serves. COVID-19 hit zip codes 20877 and 20886 especially hard. Their neighbors have been disproportionately infected with COVID-19. They have lost their jobs and cannot afford to feed their families. Businesses have closed their doors. It should not surprise anyone that 77% and 72% of residents in these areas, respectively, are people of color. In December 2020, under the leadership of Pastor Ben, Cross Community opened the doors of the Montgomery Village Resource Center, which is also known as MVRC, along with an alliance of community partners. The MVRC provides access to life-saving services such as food assistance, mental health, domestic violence, COVID testing, housing, and rent assistance. Most recently, Cross Community mobilized to establish equity access vaccine clinics to ensure residents who have been hardest hit by the pandemic are able to walk on the road to recovery. Montgomery County thanks you for your service to the most vulnerable in our community. And because of that, I have a proclamation which I'm going to read, and then I'm going to ask Pastor Ben to please say a few words. This is a proclamation of the Montgomery County Council. Whereas COVID-19, an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus, was first detected in Montgomery County in March 2020. And on March 5th, 2020, the state of Maryland declared a state of emergency. And whereas our community has suffered tremendously during this past year with our Black, Latino, and immigrant communities, disproportionately impacted by the virus, and whereas Cross Community Inc. of Gaithersburg has been deeply engaged in COVID-19 relief work since the onset of the pandemic, meeting the needs of the most highly impacted and vulnerable in our community. And whereas through its Montgomery Village Resource Center, Cross Community Inc. has distributed fresh, healthy produce, staple foods, and other necessities to residents on a weekly basis, and served as a referral center for other social services, including mental health, domestic violence, COVID testing, housing and rent assistance, and whereas Cross Community Inc. mobilized its extensive network of partners to establish equity access vaccine clinics to ensure that residents who have been hardest hit by the pandemic are able to walk on the road to recovery. To date, more than 1,825 vaccines have been administered in partnership with the organization, and 95% of residents vaccinated at the Equity Access Clinics are people of color. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland hereby honors Cross Community Inc. for their remarkable assistance to 5,000 plus Montgomery County households to ensure access to resources and equity in the vaccine rollout during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's presented today and it's signed by Council President Hucker and by me. And thank you, Pastor Ben. And we'd like to have you say a few words as well, please.
Well, good morning and thank you, Councilmember Katz and Council. We're very thankful for this honor. If I could ask my staff and community leaders, would you show your cameras? I want the council to be able to see you and recognize you. If I could ask you to do that. We feel very privileged to be able to do this work, Council. It just means a great deal to us that the partnership and help that you're giving to us to improve lives on the ground in these hard hit communities, because that's what we do. We seek to bring high level government resources to the ground, to the grassroots, because when you get to the grassroots, you find a lot of beautiful flowers there. And that's what we're trying to. We're cultivating that ground in these communities, and that's what we do across communities. So what I want to do very briefly, I want to just highlight the people who make it happen. So cross-community staff and community leaders, would you just raise your hand real quick? Okay. These are the people who are getting it done, folks. These are what we call our Jedis. Okay. And that's not just a Star Wars reference. It stands for justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. These are our Jedi fighters. They're getting it done on the ground. And council, we just are so thankful for your partnership. We need that continued partnership and support for this social enterprise work that we're doing to lift up these historically marginalized communities and make a difference. And I just want to ask you to just, invite you to reach out to me, reach out to us. We would love to help continue to grow this work. And so we're very thankful for this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all who are helping you, Pastor Ben, and I will never think of the word Jedi the same way again.